Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I want to share with you 10 minimalist habits that can transform your life. And I think something that most of us have felt at one point or another is a desire for a more simple life. Whether we're feeling overwhelmed by clutter or stressed by our busy schedules, we can tend to let things pile up subconsciously until we reach a breaking point. But the good news is it doesn't need to be that way. Using just a few simple habits, you really can do so much to make your life more minimal and manageable. So today I want to share with you 10 habits that have had a tremendous impact on my life and help me to simplify and maintain a minimalist lifestyle. Before we get into this, be sure to hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already, and a big thank you to Audible for partnering with me on today's video. We'll talk about them in a bit, but now let's jump right in. Okay, let's get started with our first minimalist habit, and this one has probably had the biggest impact for me personally when it comes to maintaining simplicity in my life, and that's to use a 1 in, 1 out rule. And this one really is as simple as it sounds. If you add something to your life, you should get rid of something else. What I love about this one is that so often we bring things into our lives without even thinking about it. And what this rule does is it really makes it so that bringing something into your life is a conscious decision, and it also correspondingly involves letting something go, which means that you have a net neutral effect. You're not adding clutter when you bring something new into your life. Instead, you're maintaining the same number of possessions. So the next time you're wanting to bring something into your life, just ask yourself the question, what am I going to let go of to make space for this item? Especially if you've already gone through and decluttered your life, you've already simplified the vast majority of your possessions, this can be a great way of just maintaining that simple life that you've created. Let's move on now though to our second habit, and that's to regularly audit your life. Again, this one is all about bringing the subconscious to the conscious. You want to be actively evaluating and thinking about whether or not the things in your life are still actively adding value to it. Over time, we change as people, our priorities change, our interests change, and so it's important that we're constantly reevaluating whether or not the things in our life are actually serving us. And of course, it could get a bit stressful if this is something that you are constantly thinking about, but figure out a rhythm that works for you. Maybe it's every month, every quarter, once a year, whatever time frame works best for you. But pick a time and create a habit around regularly auditing your life and just making sure that the possessions you have are still adding value, the activities that you have scheduled are bringing you joy and enriching your life, and just generally the way that you are living is in alignment with your values, priorities, and who you are as a person. And of course, as you go through this auditing process and identify maybe activities that don't bring you joy or items that you can't remember the last time that you used, feel free to let go of those items or of those activities, to declutter them, if you will, and just create an adjustment that's more in line with who you are today, not perhaps who you were a year ago or 5 years ago even. Our third habit is a super practical one, and that's to keep surfaces clear. I find that visible clutter, more than almost anything else, has a direct impact on how we feel. It may seem silly, but when the surfaces around us are clean and clear, we're actually better able to focus on whatever task we have at hand. So again, with this one, when it comes to building a habit, you can find a routine that works well for you. But the times of day when I personally find it most beneficial to really focus on clearing the surfaces around me are in the morning, right as I'm starting my day. I love beginning everything with a clean, fresh slate. And then also at night, right after I get off of work, so that I can enjoy a relaxing evening and not have to worry about everything going on around me. This really is one of those habits though that just takes a few minutes each day to implement, but again can have a huge impact on how you feel throughout the day, the levels of stress that you have, and also just it can help create a sense of peace and tranquility too. When we're in a clean and refreshing environment, it can noticeably help to calm us. All right, our fourth habit is to ask yourself questions. It can be all too easy for us to go out and buy something without really actually thinking through that process of why do we want to buy this item? What value do we think it's going to add to our lives? And if you're wanting to really begin making more intentional purchases, this is one of the best places to begin. Before buying any item, just ask yourself a few reflection questions. Do I love it? will I use it? How often will I use it? And does the price of this item really justify the use or the value that I'm going to get out of it? And don't think this one exclusively applies to bringing in physical possessions to your life either. You can also ask these important questions when it comes to things like how you spend your time or your money too. But by really digging deep and finding the why behind the decisions that you're making can really help you to make better ones that are going to be more intentional for you. Okay, and then our fifth habit is to take time for what's important. And this one is so important to keep in mind because simplifying our lives isn't the end goal. Sure, you may be simplifying your life, but why? What is it that you hope to achieve on the other side? Is it that you want to enjoy more time with your family or have space in your home to really enjoy the quiet moments? There are so many reasons why you might decide to simplify, but at the end of the day, we need to keep that goal that we had originally in mind. We're simplifying to what? And whatever that why is for you, whatever that motivation is, it's important that you actively, in the process of simplifying, spend time dedicated towards whatever that goal is. That's really the beauty of living more simply and more intentionally, is that it gives you time and space to be able to focus on what really is important to you. And honestly, this really can be one of the most rewarding habits that you make. Before we dive into this list any further though, if you want to learn more about the power of habits, how to build them, how to make them stick, and how they can transform your life, I'd highly recommend checking out the audiobook Atomic Habits by James Clear. It does such a great job walking through how the small changes we make really add up over time and how you can use the power of habit to improve your everyday and become the person you want to be. And what I love about this book is that it's really approachable, with plenty of great illustrations and applications so that you can immediately implement it into your life and begin building better habits. So if you're interested in giving Atomic Habits a listen, you can visit audible.com/Ashlynne or text Ashlynne to 500-500 to get Audible Premium Plus for just $9.95 a month for your first 6 months for a limited time. And what's cool too is that in addition to getting one title from their premium selection each month, you can also download thousands of audiobooks, original entertainment, guided meditations, and more for less than the cost of their regular membership. So if you're interested in checking out Audible, I'll have all the information about them linked up for you in the description box below. Or like I mentioned, you can just go to audible.com/Ashlynne. Let's continue on now though with our sixth habit, and this one really is such an important one, and that's to keep a donation box. And a donation box can really be any box or bin that you choose, but it's essentially just a dedicated place that you can put things that you want to declutter as you come across them. I think we can often feel the need to do massive declutters where we get out all of the items that we own and declutter everything at once. But what realistically is a far more sustainable way of maintaining a decluttered space is simply to, as you come across items that are no longer serving you or adding value, to make the decision to let go of them and to put that item somewhere where you can take action to actively let go of it. And that's where donation boxes can be incredibly helpful. Personally, I keep a donation crate, but as I come across items in my life that I can't remember the last time I used or that are no longer adding value, I'll simply put the item into that box, and then once it fills up, I'll just simply take it to my local donation center, or I'll sell the items in it, and I'll kind of handle them all at once. But it's a great place where I can keep things that I want to declutter, but it makes it so that I'm not having to take, a trip to the donation center every time I find one item to let go of. Next, habit number 7 is to embrace space. So often I find that when we have space, we essentially just find excuses to fill it. If we have an empty cupboard, we'll find something to stick in it, and if we don't have anything, we'll buy something to fill that space. The same thing goes for bookshelves, the same thing goes for surfaces, but realistically, we can actually stand to benefit hugely from embracing white space. And white space is essentially the emptiness surrounding an item. It's a really common concept in design, but the idea behind it is that we're able to focus on a focal point better if there's empty space surrounding it, so that our attention is drawn exactly to the intended subject. Now, while your cupboards or your closets might still have plenty of things in them, just try to picture your closet as an example for a second. If your closet is stuffed full of hangers and it's kind of bursting at the seams, it's going to be naturally so much harder to figure out exactly what you own and what you want to wear, versus if you have a few things hung up that are all neatly organized and easily visible. It's going to make it so much easier to figure out what you want to wear and know what you own, because you can see everything individually and it's not all stuffed together. So just look at your closets, your cupboards, your surfaces, perhaps your desk, and just ask yourself, how might that area benefit from white space? Okay, number 8 is to write a wish list and to wait on purchases. As you come across things that you're interested in and thinking about buying, before you go to purchase that item, take a step back and instead add that item to a wish list that you've created. Then, and this is the hard part, wait on buying that item for anywhere between 7 and 30 days, depending on how expensive that item is. By using a wish list in combination with a wait period, it really can help you to kind of use the benefit of time to evaluate whether or not a decision is actually going to be intentional for you. What I typically find is that when I add something to my wish list like this, it'll stay on there for a day or two, but then I'll quickly realize that I didn't actually need that item. Just like with asking yourself questions though, saving that item for later and really just waiting on the decision and allowing time to bring perspective really can help really minimize the number of purchasing mistakes that you make. Habit number 9 is to use the 80-20 rule. This is also known as the Pareto principle, and essentially the idea behind this is that 20% of the items that you own deliver 80% of the value. And this can be such a helpful rule to apply when it comes to decluttering your possessions, because it is completely true that often a small percentage of the items that we own are the things that we love and use the most often. So the challenge then is to identify those items and then to begin slowly letting go of the things that aren't actively adding value, or at least that the amount of value that they're adding isn't that significant. It's all about finding and keeping that small minority that's delivering the most value and letting go of what realistically is superfluous, the 80% that is only returning a 20% worth of value. Your time, attentions, and efforts are going to be best spent focusing on what's delivering the greatest return. And then finally, our 10th habit is to create reset rhythms in your life. As much as we might like for it to be the case, our lives aren't always going to be 100% clean and organized and simple. Over the course of the day, our homes can get messy, dishes get dirty, things can pile up, and that is natural and just is going to happen as a part of life. But a great way to ensure that that mess doesn't pile up over time to the point where it becomes stressful or unmanageable is to create natural reset rhythms in your daily life. And this can look like a lot of things. Maybe it's that you spend 15 minutes at the end of each day cleaning up so that you can begin the following day with a clean slate. Or perhaps it's that once a month you really go through and figure out if there's any areas in your home that need to be reorganized or restructured to be more functional for you. Maybe it's that at the beginning of your week you want to set up a schedule around your appointments, activities, and what you have going on. This idea of resets really can apply to many areas of your life, but the concept of giving yourself a clean slate regularly is so powerful because it helps you to start fresh each time. And this really is so important when it comes to living more simply or more minimally, because we're not letting things build up and accumulate over time, causing undue stress and anxiety. Instead, we're creating natural opportunities to wipe the slate clean and return order from chaos. All right, well, those are 10 habits that have had a tremendous impact on my life, and I really hope they can help to transform your life as well and really help you to enjoy the benefits of being able to live a more simple and minimal life. Don't forget, if you want to learn more about building habits that last, you can check out Atomic Habits on Audible. It really is such a great read with tons of great practical information and advice. Now though, I want to know, what are the habits that you've used to help simplify your life, or what's one habit that you want to start doing? Be sure to comment that down below. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video and haven't already, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button below for more simple and intentional living videos coming at you twice a week. That's everything for today's video though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.